This is the astonishing story of one man's relentless fight for freedom, a tale of determination, deception, and daring that unfolded over decades. James Alray wasn't just another prisoner. He was a mastermind of multiple escape attempts, a ghost who vanished from maximum security walls, and a name that once topped America's most wanted list. But his story starts far from fame, in a troubled home shaped by crime and hardship. James Alray was the eldest of 9 siblings. His childhood was far from ordinary. Raised in a chaotic household, he was heavily influenced by his father, a habitual thief and an alcoholic. The toxic environment left deep marks on James from a young age. With crime and survival shaping his worldview, it wasn't long before James began making his own mark on the world, and not in a good way. At just 15 years old, James committed his first serious crime in 1949. He was arrested and briefly imprisoned, though released early due to his young age. That first taste of prison didn't deter him, it only sparked something. Over the next few years, James dove deeper into criminal life. In 1952, he was arrested for robbing a bank and sentenced to 2 years. Then in 1955, he committed another robbery, this time a federal offense, which earned him a 4-year sentence. And during these years, James wasn't just doing time. He was testing weaknesses, learning routines, and failing multiple times in his early escape attempts. Eventually, authorities saw James as more than a common thief. He was a security risk. So he was transferred to one of Missouri's highest security prisons, a fortress with electric fences, concrete walls, and watchtowers manned by armed guards. There, he was sentenced to 20 years with no possibility of early release. This place was designed to break spirits, but for James, it became a new kind of classroom. Assigned to the prison bakery, James quietly observed the daily routines. He noticed something that others overlooked. Delivery trucks would arrive early each morning, loaded with bread, and leave with little inspection. For James, that was more than a detail, it was an opportunity. And from that moment, he began to think not like a prisoner, but like a planner. Over the next several months, James devised an escape plan that was as patient as it was bold. He began slowly enlarging a ventilation hole using nothing more than a spoon, working quietly, hiding his progress, and timing every move. He turned what seemed impossible into a growing possibility. He even studied rats navigating the ventilation system and learned how to use tools to bypass obstacles they encountered. The details mattered, the patience mattered even more. But no escape plan succeeds alone. James had allies both inside and outside the prison walls. His brother Jerry and a friend named Jack, a plumber by trade, became key players. They smuggled in crucial tools hidden in meals and supplies. Items like an axe blade and a small wrench were secretly brought in, hidden with the help of guards who had been bribed or deceived. James and his allies also exchanged coded letters to coordinate every detail, always staying 2 steps ahead of suspicion. When the time finally came, James put his plan into motion. He hid himself inside a bread box that was loaded onto one of the morning delivery trucks. Guards inspected it, but not closely enough. Once the truck had cleared the prison gates, James escaped from the box and disappeared into the darkness. He made his way to the ventilation shaft he had spent months preparing, crawled through, and finally emerged on the other side of the wall. By the time anyone noticed he was missing, James was gone, hidden in the surrounding woods, free from the prison that was supposed to be inescapable. What followed was one of the most exhaustive manhunts in American history. James Alray became one of the FBI's most wanted criminals. He traveled across the United States, into Canada, Mexico, and even Europe, using aliases and fake identities to avoid capture. Law enforcement agencies coordinated efforts internationally, launching hundreds of raids, chasing thousands of leads, but for years, they couldn't catch him. James had become a phantom, constantly moving, always adapting, and somehow staying ahead. But eventually, his luck ran out. After being recognized and identified through international cooperation, James was captured and returned to the US court system. His crimes had grown over the years, not just bank robberies and escape attempts, but now he was also accused of murder. In court, he was sentenced to 99 years for murder, plus an additional 100 years for a long list of other crimes. James would never again see freedom, yet even behind bars, James never stopped trying. He continued to plan and attempt new escapes, each one more desperate than the last. None were successful, but they added to his legend. Despite the verdict, James always maintained his innocence in the murder that earned him the life sentence. Whether anyone believed him or not didn't matter. For James, the prison walls were never fully real. They were just another obstacle to study, to overcome, or at least to try. James Alray's story spans nearly 3 decades. It's a story of repeated failure, of shocking success, and of relentless obsession. But more than that, it's a story that forces us to ask difficult questions. What shapes a criminal? Is escape ever justified? And at what point does the pursuit of freedom become its own kind of prison? His life serves as a warning and a lesson that persistence without purpose can be dangerous. That intelligence without conscience can destroy lives. And that no matter how far someone runs, from walls, from law, or from guilt, the truth always catches up in the end.